Welcome into sports tonight. Emily Gagnon here with Lee Smith. Let's get started with the Dogs. 4-0 on the season. They have yet to hit the road. That means their first 4 wins were at Sanford Stadium with a very friendly crowd around them. I expect it to be very different this weekend. Saturday, 3:30 kick on Atlanta News First. Carson Beck has never, ever started a game for the Dogs on the road, so this is going to be a game he remembers for sure, and I'm not quite sure how he's going to react. That will be, for me, the determining factor on who wins this game. The noise factor at Auburn is real. The atmosphere is very hard to play in. If anybody asks me, hey, which I get asked a lot, where is your favorite stadium in the SEC? I always say Auburn. Yep. The Eagle, the pom-poms, the music, the sound system. I'm very fond of that place. My very first college football game ever was at Auburn, Georgia, many years ago.
Why.
So
that's why.
You know, Auburn has a very special place in my heart just because I feel like they do a very good job on game day. If I were a recruit and I went there, I would be very impressed. Lee, you have some very, I'm going to say, fond memories of teams losing
you have to wear orange, you know, and
at Jordan-Hare Stadium. You know, anything is possible when you play there. So for Georgia, this is going to be a very big test, and you've witnessed it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama fans know every year's a battle. If you're ever going to play at Auburn, you have to not only dominate the game, but you have to win outright and without any question. You have to be up by at least 14 before like 30 seconds left in the game, because Auburn always pulls a miracle just out of nowhere. Georgia fans, you know it. 2013, the prayer in Jordan-Hare, the Hail Mary. And then the next week they pulled the kick six against Alabama. So it can happen. So you bet. Yeah.
Tears.
Oh God, it was well, I was actually on the field with a camera in my hand, so I didn't have time to really cry. I didn't have time to think because I was getting bombarded by people jumping over hedges and I face planting like right onto the wall. That was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I mean, it was I don't know how many thousands of people just swarmed the field, so that was fun.
Auburn fans will have their toilet paper ready, okay? Because they would like nothing more than
that's right. They're back to rolling Toomer's corner.
Yeah, to upset the number 1 team in the country, one of their biggest rivals every season, and they're playing in October. This year, which is, you know, like the beginning of October, kind of strange, but I'll take it. Hugh Freeze, though, eventually will have that program turned around. I'm not sure that they'll beat Georgia this weekend. They very well could, because I just don't think Georgia is what they have been the last couple of years. I do think they will lose one game this season, whether it be against Auburn, Florida, Tennessee, maybe even Ole Miss. Something's going to happen, unless, I will say they've improved every single week, but still I haven't seen enough to be sold on this Georgia team quite yet. But are you sold on the Falcons, which is our next topic?
Am I sold on the Falcons? Well, I was until this week. Then they got just drummed in Detroit, and it just feels like they just didn't show up. Awesome. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of weird that they have to, like, on a short week, basically go over the Atlantic Ocean, and they're going to go hang out in London for a week. They get to play the Jags, so.
Well, the Jags, too, aren't looking like especially delicious, but anything could happen between these two teams.
No.
Let's just talk about their game against Detroit, at Detroit, their first road test, which obviously they failed. Desmond Ridder sacked 7 times for like a loss of 60-plus yards. He ended up, I
know, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was so like reminiscent of Matt Ryan back in the day when his offensive line would allow like 5 to 6 sacks a game. It was so reminiscent of that. And I'm not putting it all on the O-line. As a matter of fact, after the game, Ridder said, "Don't blame my 5 guys. Those are my guys." He's taking the blame for it, which I think any quarterback should. And Matt Ryan certainly took the blame for it more times than he should have. Yes, quarterbacks have a lot to do with being sacked as well. You got to get rid of the ball sometimes. You got to know, you got to be a little more.
But it can't be all on the quarterback.
No. It's maybe a mixture of a little bit of both, but it certainly didn't look good. Every time he looked to make a play, he was drilled to the ground. Detroit's defense understood the assignment, and they also understood the fact that they needed to stop the run. Lee, 44 yards on the ground.
Bijan had 10 carries for 33 yards.
Yeah.
Bijan.
I'm glad that you and I were like on the same way.
Tyler Algier, 7 carries. 12 yards.
But that is the key to beating
12.
the Falcons.
12
so I
yards.
hope every team from now on, and I'm not like saying this against the Falcons.
You stop
but I
the
hope,
run.
Yeah, that's
and you
right.
make Desmond Ridder throw it, you got a chance.
Yeah, and quite literally for the last year, and then going into this year, they have relied on the ground game. They truly have. That's why Algier was so successful last year, over 1,000 yards as a rookie. Cordero Patterson, now with Bijan, whatever you want to call him. I'm just saying that if you stop the run with the Falcons, it makes them one-dimensional, and I don't trust Desmond Ridder. I just don't. Why? Well, you just saw it in Detroit.
21 of 38 for 201 yards. 21 of 38.
But then you minus the 63 that he lost, right?
Right.
So offense better smarten up. The defense didn't look much better. I mean, it was a very rough day. Never scored a touchdown. I think they had 187 or something like that yards of total offense, Lee. They had less than 200 yards of total offense against Detroit. And I think the Lions are not the Lions of the past. They look much better.
No, they
Dan
do.
Campbell
They do look pretty.
is going to turn things around there.
They do. They look really good,
Goff
actually.
is looking like he's regained his confidence, his stride. So I expect them, especially after beating the Chiefs in Week 1 at Kansas City.
And the
to do
crazy
better.
part about that is, too, they don't even have their first-round pick from this year, Jameson Williams, on the field.
Yeah.
He's still suspended for the gambling thing. So, the one
bright spot? Are you gonna
one
give me a
bright
bright
spot.
spot? Okay.
Jesse Bates showed up.
Well, he has been a bright spot.
I know he's been impressive, but come on, 11 total tackles, 6 solo, and then Caden Ellis actually too, 10 tackles and 5 solo. I mean, that's got to be something.
The first 2 weeks you were at home, you had that juicy crowd behind you, and then you go to Detroit and the crowd isn't there, and then
no
you
juice.
you lose all your juice.
No juice for the juicy.
Against the Jags, though, I will say that place will be sold out.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be loud for both teams.
Yeah.
So Falcons fans and Falcons feel good about that. You'll just hear screaming at all time. They won't know when to stop. They'll just cheer the entire time. Defense, offense, it doesn't matter. So enjoy yourselves and have a good practice and get it back together, because if the Jags are watching, and they are, what you did against Detroit, they're going to say, all right, let's stop the run. My man Foye Oluoken's going to be like, let's stop the run. Let's get to Ridder and let's shut it down. And that's what's going to happen. So there's the blueprint, guys. Moving on to the Braves hosting the Cubs tonight. Only 2 series left, Lee, in the regular season until postseason play starts. Here we are. They've broken all these records. They still have all these records to break. Right now, Lee, it's back-to-back 100-win series for the Braves for the first time since 2002, 2003.
That's pretty good.
So, over the weekend, they got to 100 wins on the season. We all knew they would because they've been so hot all year. Not as consistent as of late as they had been for months.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that they're too concerned with that. But I am concerned a little bit about the pitching. But that remains to be a concern. I mean, that's their only, to me, weak spot, I guess, would be the pitching. But Cubs and Nationals before postseason starts. Any thoughts on them?
I just know that the Cubs are still trying to fight for that last.
It's a big series for them.
I think they are.
Yeah.
I think they're still in contention for that last playoff spot. But Dansby coming back into town's got to be some kind of storyline too.
Yeah.
Because he got swapped last year. They get Orlando Alcida took the job, and he's done
great.
If not better than Dansby a little bit.
He's
just
a chip on
equally,
his shoulder, you can tell.
Well, of course she does. So that whole thing, and Braves. They haven't quite been as good lately as
which is not what you
they've
want
been
to
all
see.
year. It's not really. This is the one time you don't want to see that.
Yeah.
But who knows? Postseason comes. It could all be a wash. Might not mean a thing. But it could also mean everything.
That would be the most disappointing season in the history of MLB. If the Braves break all these records, do all these things, and then get to postseason play and get eliminated
you think what they did
right
last
away.
year? They were down from the Mets,
which makes me think they could do it again. So it's time to get back on that horse and get back to the winning ways and get back to the routine.
Hey, look, I know I don't want to see the Phillies again. That's all. I don't want to see the Phillies and the Dodgers. Everybody else.
You're good with? Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to keep you updated on all of that as this week goes on. Statement win for Alabama. I picked this specifically for you. Lee Smith, who went to Alabama, one of the biggest Bama fans I know. And it's weird to say, like, oh, this was a statement win against Ole Miss, who both ranked teams. It was the 3:30 kick on CBS, on Atlanta News First. And I am sure that first half you didn't enjoy it too much, Lee, but I truly thought Alabama players, coaching staff, sick of hearing like the dynasty is coming down, sick of hearing Lane Kiffin's antics, sick of hearing all of it. And it just piled and piled up and piled up on their shoulders. And they went out there and they performed. And what I liked the most, and you already know what I liked the most, was the defense. Thank you, Alabama defense. You look much better. That's the one thing everyone loves. Yeah, you look much better in week 4 than you had all season. And I like it.
Yes. Kevin Steele or whoever might have been calling the defense. Good for you guys. Now, we already
know that ain't true.
Good for you guys.
Yeah. Whoever's calling
plays. Mm-hmm. No, that was good. I mean, although that first half was terrible. 7-6. Ole Miss scores touchdown, so they actually have a lead going into half.
But I liked it, though, because Bama showed that they could face adversity.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And defeat it.
But it should have been worse than it was in that first half, and thankfully it wasn't. So, but they, you know what, they just showed their grit in the second half, and they came up and they made stops when they had to. The defensive line even looked good there towards the end of the game, and they were like everybody
bringing pressure.
Looked good on the defense.
The linebackers looked good. Kool-Aid, I want to beat Kool-Aid too.
Hey.
Like Kool-Aid looked like he was like. You know, like when Kool-Aid's cold with ice, it's so good. Like Kool-Aid was on ice.
I was wondering how long it'd take you for that one.
Yeah, it was so, like, what color of Kool-Aid do you like best? I don't even know the flavors. I just know the colors, and I kind of like purple.
I like grape.
I like blue.
Yeah, grape. Yeah.
I don't even know the flavors. They'll probably taste the same.
You just said purple and I said grape. So.
But it's just like it's the colors for me. But yeah, I felt good about it. They go to Mississippi State right this weekend. But this is like their time to build confidence because Lee, just like fans, the team and fans took a hit to their confidence against Texas, and that was rough because. Yeah, Texas looks to be very good this season.
But historically, you get Alabama the first half of the season, you've got a chance to win. Especially that first month of the season when everything's not solidified, you've got a real good chance to win. It's happened with Ole Miss a couple of times when they had either why am I spacing out?
What are you talking about?
Ole Miss.
Bo Wallace.
Bo Wallace. Thank you.
Yes.
When they had Bo Wallace.
Bo Wallace is like back in the day.
Well, him, and then who else did they lose to? Like back-to-back quarterbacks. Why am I spacing out so bad?
Was it Johnny? Johnny Manziel?
No. It was It was two Ole Miss quarterbacks.
Oh, yes.
Either way. Ole Miss has had success early in the season against Alabama, and that's because they don't necessarily have anything solidified like their quarterback. But I think we've got our guy, Milroe, and I think we're going to be all right.
Now, for him, it's a confidence thing.
Yes,
I think that once he gains a little more confidence.
It's nice to also see a quarterback that can take hits and get up and still keep going. Because he took a shot on that touchdown in the third quarter, and he delivered a strike right in the back of the end zone. Dude went up and caught it, 7 points. I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that. But, yeah, so it was good to see him. Come back in, with all the storylines, Lane coming back and taking on Saban and all that, protege and coach and all that. But 24-10 win, and I will certainly take that. I will certainly take all that.
I'll take all of it, too. All right, what's on your mind today? And we're going to make it quick.
Alabama's got a quarterback and a defense. Fight me.
So that's what's on your mind?
That's it.
All right, and what's on my mind was our first topic, and no, truly, Lee, like I walked into this season against Georgia thinking like absolutely it's the easiest schedule I've ever seen in my career, and they're going to just annihilate everyone, and that's certainly not the case. I think they're missing, like beyond Brock Bowers, they're missing an it factor to me. Like every team, and I should say the last 2 years, they had swag and they had something about them, and maybe it was Stetson Bennett, and I hate to admit it, but or maybe it was just the fact that the defense was so incredibly strong. They had an it factor. This season, I'm not feeling it yet, and they might towards the end of the year, but right now they don't have that swag. They don't have the it factor. They don't have something that makes me believe that they can go undefeated the rest of the year. And I think coaches know that. And you know what? Maybe the offensive coordinator was the factor the last 2 years. I don't know. Maybe Bobo makes all the difference. I don't know, but we will soon find out, because they are going into the meat of their SEC schedule right now. And by the end of the month, they'll have faced quite a bit of adversity, including Jacksonville, which after Florida beat Tennessee in the Swamp, which I know you say Tennessee never wins there. But
I mean, they have for 2 decades.
As the Dogs progress, but also as the Gators progress, they're gaining momentum and confidence.
Yeah.
And in Jacksonville, whoever wins that game is going to win the East. So.
Oh, hot takey.
Almost every year, that's what happens. Whoever wins. I mean, for Georgia, think about it. The one year they did not play in the SEC championship game against your
Florida
team,
did.
Alabama, Florida won in Jacksonville.
Yep.
Every other year, Georgia won in Jacksonville. So to me, the route to Atlanta in December, the first weekend in December, is through Jacksonville.
And Florida almost actually ended up beating Alabama in the SEC championship that year too. So there's that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a great day.